Hi everybody, Rochelle Jones here. So I have a thought today to share with you. Actually, it brewed up the other day, earlier in the week. I had to take my daughter to the doctor. She fell a couple weeks before and was still complaining of pain. And pain that's in pretty much the same spot weeks later, I have learned with my children, usually signifies something that needs a little bit more attention than just ice it and rest it, right? So it turns out she has a good broken toe from the tip, down to the joint there, and had to either have a cast or a boot. Fortunately, we were able to have a boot because we're coming up on summer, and a cast is really difficult. We've had our fair share to know. So here's my thought for today. When she fell and hurt her toe, and she's been complaining of pain ever since, on and off, not consistently, I'm in writhing pain. So there were pauses. Anyhow, there were people who would say, oh, I fell, I did that same thing one time and you'll be fine, it'll go away. Or I did the same thing this one time and, you'll probably just lose a toenail and then that's it. Basically telling her, I already know what's going to happen to you. I had something similar. Perhaps I have x-ray vision too. I don't know. And I could see exactly what's going on with you, and I could tell you the outcome right now. And really what that type of message is, I mean, it happens, right? But it happens a lot. And what I could see is that message, the first thing she said when she found out it was broken, and people said, oh yeah, I did it too, and it was going to go away. She, in that moment, was aware that, hey, I feel judged here. I feel unheard. I feel minimized. Also, if we think about the myths of, well, don't feel bad. And that's what adults are trying to do very often, is prevent the child from feeling bad or feeling the way that they're actually feeling. Because let's face it, she didn't stop feeling bad as those messages were coming. She still had pain because the appropriate action had not been taken. She's been in her boot since Tuesday, I believe, and she's already feeling better. This is only Friday because the appropriate action is being taken. But what I want to focus on is those messages that we adults tell kids, which means don't feel bad, and we minimize them. We suppress what their emotional truth is, and that's the long-term effect. As adults, that's what starts to happen. We've had those types of messages happen for so long, and we are told in an indirect way, don't feel what you're feeling. I already know what the outcome's going to be, and it's going to be this. And we already know that they couldn't possibly, but we want to trust them. We're little, we're young, we don't know. And then what happens? We go to the doctor a couple weeks later and find out, oh, it's something more severe. And there's this immediate realization of, trust was broken. I wasn't heard. And I want you to really think deeply when you're doing that to your kids. Why do we minimize children? Why do we? I see this with toddlers. In fact, I did it with my toddlers. They would fall. You're okay, you're okay, you're okay. Why do we do that? Why don't we let them cry for a minute? Why don't we let them feel sad? Why don't we let them express what's true and correct for the situation and then just comfort them? Were you scared? Are you hurting? Show me where it hurts. But we tell them, you're okay, or you're going to be fine, because we have this magical ability to see the future or have x-ray vision. We've got to stop that. We're breaking trust with our children, and then they grow up, and we get the effects of broken trust. Imagine that in your relationships with your, romantic partner or business partner or good friends. Broken trust doesn't go over well. One other story. About 2 summers ago, my son is the summer before his freshman year, and he had fallen on his skateboard, I think it was, hurt his wrist, and he was complaining of pain pretty regularly. He's got a terrible pain threshold. It is so high that I never know what's actually happening. Anyway, he had basketball camp, trying out for high school basketball. He had basketball camp that summer, and he was in pain a lot. But it's his first year at high school. He's so busy trying to prove himself. We all have a measure of approval addiction, but he's so busy trying to prove himself to the team, to be accepted to the team, meanwhile having some very intense pain. So he, they're on the hard gym floor, and what would he do? He couldn't do the push-ups and such the regular way, so on the hard gym floor he would do things on his knuckles. and the coach would tell him, you just need to tough it out, you'll be fine. Family members, friends, trusted adults who are supposed to provide safety, be a source of safety and comfort, would tell him, you'll be fine, you just need to tough it out, you need to stick with it, you need to keep going. Anyway, I'm watching him every day break in spirit because he's pushing through and having to work harder to do so than maybe some of the other kids because he has an injury. Now I'm like, he's crying every day, but he won't listen to me. He doesn't want to go to the doctor because the cool guys, the coaches, and the cool, adults in his life who had a little bit more esteem than I did, where he's looking for that approval. He's got my approval, but he wanted theirs. So theirs was the voice that he would listen to. Eventually, I couldn't take it anymore, and I took him to the doctor, and it turned out he had a broken wrist. He walked out of the appointment with a cast on. He still brings up to this day the fact that people have told him he's broken a few bones, he's quite active, and it's always something like that. The adults around him tell him, you'll be fine. I remember when. You just got to push through. You just got to suck it up. It's supposed to be hard. Basically, don't feel bad. Just stay really busy. Don't feel bad. Listen, I've been through something like this. You'll be fine. Minimizing him, shutting him down, not letting him feel what's true and correct for him in the situation. And it's broken trust. Now he doesn't know who to trust when. And I'm living through some really difficult times because of that. I can see the patterns. I can see the things that have had comments against them for these different types of years. We really need to take a moment to just pause and think and listen. When we tell them you'll be fine, just keep going. This is normal. Excuse me. My throat is dry. Are we telling kids to not feel what they're feeling? Are we leaving them feeling unheard? Is it imparting a sense of shame or judgment because they clearly are feeling something, and when they express it honestly, they're shut down, minimized, leaving them feeling judged or criticized or less than or not good enough, not safe, not protected, not able to trust us as adults when we tell them those messages? We've really got to pause and think deeply because we are hurting children, and then they become untrusting teens, which is already difficult enough. Then they become untrusting young adults. They go into their relationships with a loss of trust. Imagine starting a romantic relationship with this loss of trust injury existing and present over here that was caused 16, 20 years before. Is that really fair to the person they're entering into a relationship with? This is why we say grief, that emotional buildup from not feeling heard or wanted, those losses of trust and safety and protection, love, acceptance. Those wounds over there don't go away. That's why we say grief is cumulative. It keeps adding up, and it's cumulatively negative, meaning it keeps adding up with a heavier and heavier consequence. And how is that affecting our children's future? We were once children with the same type of experiences. How is it affecting you today? And are you using those pieces of information that caused your wounds? Did you take them to be, that's just how adults talk to children? And are you repeating them to children around you? Just think deeply. I hope that's helpful for you, and I hope it makes a difference in the way you communicate with children around you, the way that you hear them and let them communicate with you. If you need more input, if you need more guidance and direction and assurance, equipping, I've got you covered. We've got grief recovery method classes in an 8-week or a 2-day format. The Institute is offering a 90-day program, which is fantastic. But also, we have those Helping Children with Loss classes, which is a 4-week program. It's fantastic, it's amazing, it's wonderful. It's what we use to help our children. Both wonderful classes, so valuable. I hope you find time to be present in one of them. And if you've already been through a class, go through another one. Nobody's got life perfectly figured out after one go. Go get more practice. I love you. Bye-bye.